This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can pick up some right now online at txbrewing.com. Join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club. Be a part of the community and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Moisture concerns with indoor electric brewing, balancing a home draft beer system, and refurbishing a homebrew keg. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 332. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com. Click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, and now you can call, leave a voicemail or a text. But if you leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107, you'd get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, courtesy of one of my co-hosts down there, Mr. Todd Burns. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Joshua Stubing, one of your hosts, joined as always by my co-host. First, he is the Director of Operations at CM Becker over there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President, Chief Keg Washer below me, down there, Mr. Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, sorry.
James is actually below on my screen, so you were technically right on the second one, too.
Yeah, okay, yeah. See, I forget. You don't see what I see, but you're very pedantic about it. Like when I say, up on the screen right now is the recipe, then you're like, no, I don't see it. You
should fix that.
I know. We got to find a way that I can screen share, but also capture locally. That way you won't interrupt me when I'm doing stuff. Because you're right, on your screen. And James,
the reason I was laughing a while ago is I was just dropping you under the tires of the, what is that?
Under the bus? Throwing me under the bus?
Throwing you under the bus. Thank you.
To who?
Oh, our interview yesterday when you said you'd send some information over right after the interview.
Oh, I did. We got interviewed for Brauvial magazine, right?
Yeah. German magazine.
So. Yeah, it's true. So it's funny. They were actually just trying to reach out for Todd, James, and I hopped on the call because I got the Zoom link. So she got an interview with me, whether she liked it or not.
That's right.
Didn't I not sound professional in that interview, though?
You did sound very good. Yeah,
I sounded like I knew what I was talking about.
You did. You did.
Poor lady. It's Horst Dornbush's wife, Elva, and terribly nice and terribly knowledgeable about beer as well. That I bet it'd be fun. Todd, you got to have them to the ranch sometime.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
it would be fun. Get them to the ranch at the same time.
We could have Horst. We could have Horst correct your German for 3 days. That'd be great.
That would be great. I was gonna say, but yeah, that he's doing a foreshadowing, friends, of our listener feedback this week. And I hope I'll say it now, Todd. I hope we get these kinds of voicemails every week from foreign listeners. I will try a foreign language every week, and I want someone who natively.
You should try. You should do English again. I know we'll get a feedback on that.
English, yeah. All right, mate. Well, we're going. Anyway, welcome, friends who have still stuck with us. We do have some small talk before we get into the listener feedback, and we got 3 questions for this week. The first bit of housekeeping stuff, HomebrewCon. Todd, I turned in our PowerPoint, which was funny. I haven't messed with it.
I looked at it after you turned it in. You sent it to me. I went through the whole thing. It was very nice, by the way. You did a great job. I just want to say that publicly. You did a great job.
It's shaping up. I'm excited because it's getting real. When we got accepted to talk, it was February, or it was like late February. It was where it felt like, oh, we got tons of time to prepare for this. And in my usual fashion, it snuck up on us. So we had to throw this together. But thankfully, the talk we're giving, let me put it on the screen here for people. They're serving your homebrew, all about draft systems. We're doing it on June the 23rd, which is a Friday, the day of club night. I requested that we don't speak.
I don't see it on my screen.
I hate you. But the people on youtube.com/homebrew happy hour can see it. 1:30 p.m. Pacific. I do believe they might be live streaming this year as well. If not, I know for a fact they do publish everything at either Zymergy's website or just American Homebrewers Association's website. But you can go watch as far back as 2012, I think, HomebrewCon presentations, including the online ones we did in 2020 and 2021. Last year, we didn't make it to Pittsburgh. They rejected our talk. But this year, they're like, hey, we need some people to talk. And we're like, we're here for you. So we're excited to do that. I know, Todd, you can't wait to be in a car for 18 hours with me, or however, how long's the drive?
How did you ever get me to do that? I thought about it this morning. I said, how did he convince me to drive to San Diego? Oh, it sounds worse and worse the more I think about it.
It's going to be fun.
Thank you, James. My elementary teachers always told my parents I was charming. My wife calls it voodoo.
I noticed that I really need to take a trip right after that. I may have to fly straight there and let y'all drive my truck home.
Oh, you're such a liar. That's fine. I bet James likes the road too. We would.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I don't think any of us has had a road trip quite that big.
No.
It'll be fun.
And the last
breweries.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be a ton of fun. On the way there, we're stopping in Arizona for a night, and on the way home, we're stopping at Carlsbad. Who doesn't like caverns and stuff?
Right.
I guarantee you. I haven't looked into it. I'd be willing to bet you $5 there's some microbrewery, some craft brewery in Carlsbad. There's got to be. So we're going to, like James said, we're going to have a good time sightseeing on the drive. I love the road, and I love the Southwest. It's going to be fun. And then, like I said, San Diego, it's been forever since I've been to San Diego. That is basically beer mecca for our industry. So you cannot throw a stone without hitting a microbrewery or a craft brewery there as well. What are you shaking your head no for, Todd?
I just know you're going to screw this up. So
what am I going to screw up? What are you talking about?
The saying that you're going to.
Oh, yeah. You can't twirl a cat without killing its skin, or
swing a dead cat.
That too. You can't do that either. There's more than one way to kill a cat than going down a rabbit trail.
Choking it to death on butter.
Okay, yeah, that too. Yeah. If you're new to listening to this show, there's many, many, many episodes where I mess up common sayings, but it's 2023. You can't correct me.
So I was curious. I looked well, never mind. I don't know what I did wrong.
Oh gosh.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry,
anyways,
I don't want to delay the show.
No. I like it that you're dragging it out this time. So You can register at homebrewcon.com. If you're going to be there, let us know. We're going to be hanging out at the Muntins booth for sure during the show. We're going to have beer being served there that we're bringing. I'm bringing a Kolsch. James is bringing an alt for sure. I don't know if you're bringing...
And a Pils.
I'd say, I thought you were, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew the alt for sure.
Yep.
And a Pils. Todd's bringing a Belma APA. And Belma's from our sponsors at Hops Direct. It is their in-house hop. I'm excited.
Well, we're bringing 3 of them. That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring one that's all grain, one that's LME or liquid malt extract, and then one that's DME, which is dry malt extract. So you'll be able to try the exact same beer, or maybe not exact's not the right word, but you'll be able to try the same beer that's brewed from using all 3 methods and get an idea of what the difference is.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun. And I'm also also brewed a mild for it, or taking the mild as well. So we're going to bring a lot of beer for the Muttons booth.
A lot of beer. And James is also doing a non-alcoholic beer. So
I did it earlier today. So
what is the turnaround? Is it a couple of days? Is it because there's no fermentation.
No, I should be able to force carb it tomorrow.
That's incredible.
See what it tastes like. I don't imagine this first batch will go there. It's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
So it's the hopping that's so tricky. But it was super simple to do. It took 20 minutes on the stove, boil some water, add their liquid malt extract. And then I had to add 100 grams of maltodextrin and 43 grams of hops, Centennial hops, and let it steep for 20 minutes. Put a keg full of RO water. Oh, you know what I forgot to do?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing it again.
I love it. What'd you forget? Because I forget all the time. What'd you forget?
I forgot the potassium sorbate to put in the keg. Completely forgot to put it in. I wonder if I could still do that now.
I bet you could.
I bet you
try
can. I bet you can.
Did y'all know that there's a San Diego, Texas? I had no idea there was a San Diego, Texas.
I assumed that there's a city in our state of every major city.
I Googled how long it would take us to get to San Diego, and it's only going to take us 5 hours.
Gosh, how long did it take us to get out of Texas? From
a lot. So we'll drive right through El Paso.
Right. We're driving as far as
it's not near as long from here as it would be from your house.
Really?
El Paso's
because you're northwest of me.
1,000 miles from your house.
Yeah, you're northwest of me. That's right.
So it will. Let's see. I don't know why it always does that.
I'm going to say it's going to take 10 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours. Okay.
Yeah. 8
hours. Ooh. But in a car with me, Todd, it's going to be fun. Gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So
excited.
HomebrewCon stuff. For Trub Club, it is the last call. Recipes have already gone out. I got them out early because I'm not going to be there Monday. And Memorial Day, I looked, FedEx and all the carriers don't pick up on Memorial Day. So the kits that I say, they do it
When is Memorial Day?
Monday. It's
Monday.
This coming Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I always say the recipes will go out the last Monday, but it's not getting picked up. So I went ahead and did them. But that doesn't mean if you join now that you still can't get, let me put it up on the screen. Is it there? Oh, no, that's Kolsch Cup. There we go. Boom. The English mild. The one Todd is bringing over to HomebrewCon. If you're going to be there, you can try the English mild.
I don't see it.
Or you can brew it yourself by going to patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. Join one of our recipe receiving tiers. This one and the Kolsch are the 2 months that we have grown the most. People, we talk about these delicious beers, and I think they're starting to believe us, guys, because they're joining the Trub Club. They're getting them shipped out. I did a crap ton. That is a legitimate measurement of recipes. What does Chicken Little do? Like I milled the grains. I bagged the grains. I bagged the hops. It was fun. It took me a day and some change. But anyways, go to, there it is, patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. Thank you to our sponsors, Muntins providing the premium grains, Hops Direct providing those fantastic premium hops. What did go out with that? EKG, East Kent Golding went out with this kit. And then Imperial Yeast, everyone got a pack of House. It's fantastic. I mean, Todd, you brewed it. I'm trying to think of the variances that you've done before. This is the last recipe you did that you have on tap at home, not the one we're bringing, or vice versa.
And
the only difference was the yeast, because one of those batches we didn't have the house.
Yeah, I did
used
dark. The one I'm taking to the show is going to use darkness, and the one that I did before used house, right? So
yeah, have you tried the one with darkness?
I tried it last night. It still needs a little more carbonation. It was very good though.
I wonder I know house is an English strain. Darkness more for stouts, but I'm sure it produces a fantastic beer. You talked to Owen, the president over there. He had recommended house, but he thought darkness would still be fine, right? When you told him, yeah. And they sent us a bunch. And talking about that Belma APA, I'll just spoil it now. You can join the Chub Club friends preemptively, because next month I don't have a slide for it, so nobody will see it, Todd. We're doing a Belma APA. Todd is formulating a recipe. He's going to pick his favorite one, and we're going to do a Belma APA.
And you're going to get your money out of this one, because it has it has a fairly significant amount of grain, but it has a lot of hops. And I know there's people out there like James and Josh that are saying a great amount of hops. I'm not sold, but the vast majority of them are aroma hops or flavor hops, and there's not that much in the boil. So it's a pretty balanced beer. I think it's something like, and I may be exaggerating, on my batch, I know it was like 1.5 pounds of hops for the 17.5 gallons.
It was so much.
And I would say of that 1.5 pounds, all but maybe 3 ounces of it was for aroma.
No, I remember because you sent me the list in our group chat, and I was like, that's a hop bomb end of boil.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
But thank you very much, Hops Direct, for providing us with a enormous amount of hops so we could show people about this new Belma hop. I don't know if it's new, but it's something that was actually discovered on their farm at an old farmhouse. I believe there's a story. We'll get the whole story.
We will
before Homebrew Con, because we're going to put a little sign up about it. But kind of a neat story where they found this vine growing and found this hop that was basically a new variety.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into marketing it, so we're excited to brew with it. And it is new to us, so it's probably new to a lot of our listeners too. I say that I saw people in our Chub Club talking about Belma for a different recipe when someone was asking for maybe an IPA. But why? So tell me this, Todd. Or actually, I'll ask James, because he's my walking BJCP. He used so many hops. How is that still an APA? What's the difference between APA and IPA? I don't understand.
Bitterness.
Yeah.
So because
IBUs.
So because he didn't use all those hops for the full boil, it kept his IBUs down enough to be considered just a pale, as opposed to
because you can only get bittering units from a 60-minute boil. I'm sure somebody's going to disagree with me on that, but if you're wanting to,
well, yeah, you can get them from any boil, but what you mean is the vast majority of it. You can get it from a 10-minute boil, but it's not going to add very much. But once you get to 0, then it's 0, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he used so many hops. It's kind of I love Real Ale. I'm not throwing you guys under the bus. They listen, but I love Real Ale. But they have an APA they call Swifty, or is it Shifty? Might be Shifty.
Swifty, maybe with
the W.
I have it in my fridge.
Yeah. Delicious. It's super hoppy, but maybe it's not the bittering. Maybe it's all aroma and floral, and that's why it's an APA. Okay, because every time I drink it, I'm like, that tastes kind of juicy. It makes me think I'm drinking an IPA. Again,
it's only 40, the IBU on it.
40 seems high for an APA, dude. What?
No, not at all. Well, then what's well within range?
Okay, what's an IPA's range? You're making stuff up. Anyway,
I would say an IPA. A lot of IPAs would be 60. They could be a lot higher than that, but
sure.
At some point, I don't think you can perceive the bitterness anymore. I think when somebody has 100 of them, then I don't know that you could tell the difference between 100 and 70. At some point, you just don't perceive it.
Diminishing returns at some point. Gotcha. Yeah. Anyways, go to patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour. Join the Chub Club. Brew the English mild. It is not going to punch you in the face with hops. Excuse me. I'm burping. I just had lunch with Todd's wife. I did. But anyway, we appreciate everyone in the Chub Club. Thank you so much, guys. That's the small talk. Before we get to the 3 questions. It's time for listener feedback. No lie, this might be one of my favorite listener feedbacks of all time. If I could just get this guy and maybe Marty from Omaha in a room together and make one voicemail together about Jack and Coke and me butchering words, that might be that might just blow my mind of voicemails. But either way, it's our buddy, I think Leo. I heard correctly. It's an international number. It's Leo from Germany correcting my use of German words.
Guten Tag, Herr Burns, Herr Carlson. Hallo, Joshua. This is your faithful listener, Leopold Brunstendorfer from Germany. As you know, Germans invented beer. Besides beer, we also invented many other important things like the lid, carbon, and reading. For reading, we invented many words. We have the best words. One of those words is Unterdruck, a noun. Emphasis is on the first syllable. It means negative pressure. Now, some claim that Germans are pedantic. I even heard people complain that Germans are too direct, which is ridiculous. We just need to say what needs to be said. Joshua, you're saying it wrong. When you say Unterdruckpilz, you are saying negative pressure pills. That's foolish. You don't want negative pressure in brewing. Ask your superior. A fermenter, as I said, can in fact be unter Druck, as in under pressure, unter being a preposition and Druck being the emphasized noun. So if you want to make it absolutely clear what kind of pressure you're talking about, you could in fact say Überdruckpilz. Über with an umlaut. Please don't say Uber.
Thank you, Leo. I love it. Honest to God. Also, some people say, I say this about Germans in my very anecdotal small bubble. I think he was coming from the best place, but Germans not just are pedantic, they're so dry. He could be like, Joshua, I want to tell you I left a 5-star review. I do like the show. Greetings. You know, like they just, the way they deliver.
Well, and I like the way that he said, don't say, don't say Uber.
Yeah.
But it sounds almost the same, right?
We were just talking about that, the three of us.
Beautiful.
We got off that call with our German counterpart, a Sam Becker call. And we were just talking about how Germans, the language, you just say like, oh yeah, say unter. No, Joshua, unter. Yeah, unter. No, Joshua. I love it. That honestly, Leo, first off, thank you for leaving the feedback.
Choose.
Not you were going around. Cheers.
Oh, cheers to you too, buddy.
Yeah, howdy. Cheers from Texas.
Choose is,
you know, like, and my friend Han is on Instagram. I reached out to him and he had told me ahead of time, like he didn't say I could use Uberdrut, but he not Uber, but I was like, no, Google Translate says Unterdrut, dude. I typed in pressure, under pressure, and it said that. Google Translate screwed me, man. Like, it's making me look like an idiot, and I can do that on my own, but it really made me look like an idiot. I'm surprised Leo's the first one, because we actually have a great community in Europe, specifically Germany, who write in or follow us online and send us beers or send us recommendations and chastise my views of Kolsch or chastise whatever. But this has to be one of my favorite voicemails ever. Yeah, I apologize, Leo, and I'll do it again. But I do apologize for this first infraction. So, no, guys, don't get rid of Unterdrut. I'm going to make it Uberdrut instead with an umlaut.
I think you said Uber again. What did you say? Say that again.
Uberdrut.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'm not. This isn't like my English accent. I'm trying to actually do. Every time I try to do German, like Guten Tag, I have to go low like that. I don't know why. I'm not mocking y'all guys. I swear. But I also do. Before I let this go, he called y'all by your proper names, and then he just sounded so disgruntled and goes, "Hello, Joshua." I'm gonna make that a ringtone, like for Stefan. That's the best. That really made my
That's
day.
Awesome.
Leo,
yeah, that actually was really funny. I listened to it yesterday when you sent all the show notes out, and I was actually laughing out loud by myself, just cracking up when I heard
It's the
that,
best.
so.
It really did warm my heart. Like I took no offense to it. If I was supposed to, Leo, too bad. You can't hurt me. But that was fantastic. But please email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com so I can find a way to get you Todd's money or communicate with you or have a special segment once a month where it's Germans chastising Joshua. Like I would make that a segment.
I like that segment.
Wouldn't that be the best? And then we'd one month we could do Mexicans, another month we'll do the French. We will just have a cultural war.
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say the French aren't going to like the way you pronounce their language either.
Anything. You're right. Mexicans don't care. I've been so spoiled by conjugating improperly the Spanish language, and Mexicans.
When he says Mexicans, he means all Hispanics from every country.
They don't care. You're right. You're right. You're right, because I also speak bad. I mostly speak bad Spanish to Guatemalans and Hondurans, and then Mexicans. Yeah. So you're right. Just all of Central Latin America, I am butchering their language, and they don't care. The Germans, they care for good reason. Leo, don't get mad at me. We got to find a way to get our reviews from foreign countries, because right now I can only see North American. I'd love to see the reviews on the German one, where it's just a 1-star from 150 reviews.
Idiot.
Yeah, idiots. This guy. Anyways, reminder, if and when you leave us a voicemail feedback or a question to 325-305-6107, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, much like our first question of the show. It's our buddy Rob from Texas.
Hey, this is Rob from Lavernia, Texas. I have a question about brewing electric indoors. I have a propane system right now. It's a horizontal 10-gallon system. And I'm looking to change to electric so I can brew year-round, because as you can imagine, here in Lavernia, Texas, it gets pretty hot this time of year. And I was just wondering, like, if I need to put in special exhaust systems. I have an apartment on my property that I consider my mother-in-law place. It's only about 600 square feet. It's got 2 windows in it, a couple AC units. But I was wondering if I should run like a fan on one of those windows to pull the exhaust. So I'm really just concerned about the moisture that brewing electric indoors would produce during the process. And I see your videos and I admire your videos about you all doing it in your spaces there. It looks about the same size as my apartment on my property. And I just wanted to know if you had any advice about how to do the exhaust for the steam. That's all I got. I really enjoy your show. I've been watching it or listening to it for a long time and watching it, I suppose, from time to time. And Josh, you're pretty awesome. And Todd, you're pretty awesome too. And James, you're just as awesome. Looking forward to your answer. Take care.
Not gonna lie, I didn't see those last 2 transcribed in the transcribed rather on the notes. Otherwise, I might not have taken it. I usually just look for my name. I do a Control F, and then I see what they say about me. No, Rob Lavernia's right down the road from me, actually. San Antonio area, right down the road. I think my cousin used to do motocross in that area. But either way. It's a great question. And actually, I'll throw it to you first, James, and then Todd, because both of y'all doing Brautag for 99.999% of your brews. Both of y'all doing big batches, 15 and a half plus gallons, most of the time 17 and a half gallons total. And you're boiling like as much as you can, I mean, to the brim, right? Like y'all are getting the max volume you can out of the system. Neither locations, whether it's the brew room at the office, which is a break room kitchen, or Todd's barn nook that he's made for brewing, neither one of y'all have exhaust systems in there. What was the reasoning behind it? James, has there been any issues from the moisture you've created? Because you brew a ton in there, and I haven't noticed like there's no damage on the ceilings. The appliances in there don't seem affected. Like, is there a reason there's no exhaust in there, or do you feel like, in a better scenario we would have put one in?
We just never thought about it. It gets pretty humid inside there, but the return air is right above the boil kettle. So when the AC turns on, it removes some of that. Can't get it all because it's a lot of moisture. But I would, if he can do it, I would definitely put an exhaust hood over that. And that little space, it'll generate. We've been brewing beer, and you can see the condensation on the return air grate. literally, it looks like somebody sprayed it with a water hose. So yeah, it's a great idea. If you're in a position where you can put a hood, definitely put an exhaust fan in a hood above your system. It'll make a huge difference.
And the difference though being, again, like water damage to the ceiling, or like what?
Well, it can cause mold. It can cause water damage. It can cause all kinds of things with that kind of humidity in that small confined space. It can definitely cause some issues from moisture.
And Todd,
if you're brewing a lot.
Yeah, and throwing it to you, when you built the nook in the barn, it was specifically for a Herm system. You knew. I mean, you had a spite system, or pardon me, that was at the office. You had like a homemade one, James and you concocted.
Sure,
and then doing all the R&D, you have had every version of the Brautag till the current iteration, the final like consumer version of it that's installed now. You didn't ever install one either. Is that again just like because they're super expensive, or it's an afterthought? Like what?
It doesn't bother me. I mean, it makes some steam, and sometimes I'll open both doors if I think there's a lot of it. Usually when I'm to that point, I'm opening both doors anyway, because I'm cleaning stuff or going back and forth with stuff, even though the AC's on, so I probably shouldn't. But it would. If I had a fan with a fan switch right there, I'd turn it on, but it's not enough to make me want to crawl up in the ceiling and put one in. I'm too lazy to do that, I guess, at this point. So,
the good thing is you can just drill straight up and vent out into the attic.
Yeah, you could.
Here, we'd have to rip the floor up to get,
it'd be really hard here. It also depends on, what are your thoughts on your mother-in-law? I mean, is mold, it could cause some mold, but maybe that's would keep people from invading your space where you brew in. You got to think about those types of things. So
let me make
and our space is a lot bigger, to be fair. So the room that I brew in is 1,600 square feet, and the one that James brews in, or James and I both brew in here at the office, that area, if you have the door open, it's a kitchen, but if you have the door open, it's 3,000 square feet. So, it's a lot. I mean, 600 square feet's a really small space. You'd almost certainly have to open those windows a little bit or do something like that.
Now, let me make this question about me. I like to do that, not just to drag it out, but my father-in-law is helping me with the garage. Kind of, we're going to put a sink out here and get running water, and we're doing drainage and all that stuff. I wanted to make it easier for brewing. And right now I'm using an all-in-one, right? But the idea, since my pop is just dragging his feet on making space for our Brautag, my idea is on the other side of this office wall to have a Brautag system right there and brew there. If y'all going straight up would actually be going into my daughter's room. So
it's going to be too much trouble.
Right. So would you think in a garage with the kind of, it's not low. We have higher ceilings than the average bear, but it's still, I don't know, 12 feet ceilings or whatever. Do you think I need to find some, like run a fan to get it? I'll always be brewing with the garage door open.
You're talking about a space that if it was going all the time, it would be one thing, right? But you're using it for 5 hours, and then and then it's in your garage in Texas. It's hotter than hell. It's going to dry out. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Well, and if you're, I kind of chuckled when you were talking about the brew room at the office. When you open the door, it's 3,000 square feet. Because if we're counting that, if I open my garage door, it's infinite feet because that's the outside.
You could certainly open your garage door,
right?
But
then that would solve that. Yeah. I'm just trying to think for Rob. I
don't think you're going to get enough moisture in your garage, because it's a pretty big garage. It has high ceilings, like you said, where it's going to, brewing for, and think about it, you're not really putting that steam out the whole time. When you really put most of the steam out is during the boil.
Totally.
You put a little bit in during the other things, but particularly if you keep, I always keep my lids on my system when I'm heating the water up and all that, so that condensation is just coming back down into the pot.
Yeah, no, totally. I don't even know what they cost. I probably wouldn't, like I said, I can't drill up and exhaust out there. I do know for my office, I looked at the air scrubbers because at one point I was like, I want to smoke cigars in my office. I'm a man. I've got 3 daughters and a wife taking over my entire house. It's full of estrogen. No, this is my space, blah, blah, blah. Scrubbers are expensive. Proper scrubbers, like $1,000 or more. And I was like, yeah, I don't need to smoke in my garage that bad. I'll just go outside. It's not a big deal.
No, they're very cheap.
Proper air scrubbers?
No, a fan.
Oh, exhaust. Yeah.
Like a bathroom fan. You're talking about, here's one on Home Depot for $21.96.
Oh, so it is, okay, a very cheap.
I mean, that's one of the cheaper ones on there, but you probably wouldn't need a very big one, particularly if it was right above where you're brewing,
Yeah. But I guess I did drag it out unintentionally, but bringing it back to Rob's scenario, like you said, he could probably get by with just open windows, worrying about the moisture, right, guys? But
I suspect he's an engineer, and as an engineer, he's going to need a fan, or it's going to drive him crazy.
Yeah, well, like James said too. Yeah, if you have it, do it right the first time. If you have a way to install it, just do it. You'll probably be happier than the alternative of dealing with it, like what y'all are doing, and y'all are just dealing with it. And I have been at your place, Todd, where we have all the doors open because it's just a steam bath. It looks like 18.
It's definitely a lot worse different times of the year. So it's been raining lately a lot. So if it's raining a lot and it's cold outside, then it's going to be a lot worse than if it's a typical hot Texas summer day. Because the air is just so much drier,
Absolutely. But anyways, I think that wraps it up. Rob, thank you so much for submitting that question. A reminder, friends, if and when you leave us a voicemail at 325-305-6107, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. If you text that same line or go to homebrewhappyhour.com and use that submit a question link at the top of the page, you still get a $15 gift card, which I think is pretty good. Like our buddy Adam for our second question, using the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Adam wrote, "Hey guys, this is Adam from Missouri," or Missouri. People from Missouri can correct me. Missouri. Got a question about balancing the keg system. If I upgrade to flow control faucets, does that balance the system without additional effort? Although I've read articles on what balancing a keg system means, please go over what you think of when someone asks you to help them balance a home keg system. Just in time for HomebrewCon 2023, where we will be having a section talking about this. But to me, before I throw it to Todd, because I threw it to James first last, balancing just means having it dialed in to the proper pour. Isn't that what balance means? Like your system, when you draw, it is pouring. It's carbonated appropriately. The temperature is where it needs to be, and you are not getting too much foam in your pour.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's some confusion over the term because it can kind of mean two different things. So when they say balancing a beer system, a lot of times they're talking about a long draw system. And you've actually got to make corrections on both sides. So you have to have the proper restriction, but you also have to have the right amount of pressure on your keg, and because you're using a mixed gas. And I'll just cover it quickly because most people probably don't care. But they use it when they say balancing. A lot of it's balancing the back end and balancing the front end. Really, with a direct draw system, all you're trying to do is get your restriction and your temperature down properly, so that there's really not a whole lot to it. I mean, you want your temperature of your beer to be around 38. I usually say 36 to 38 is what I'm shooting for. You're always going to get variance because even with my temperature controller, there's a 3-degree variance, so you're always going to have it go up and down. So, but I try to shoot between 36 and 38. And then you want to have proper restriction. And what proper restriction means is that you have to restrict the flow of the beer or you get foam. And as a general rule of thumb, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like on a direct draw system, you need 4.32 feet of beer, whatever it is. Everybody just puts 5 feet on there. So they put 5 feet of 3/16 beer line on a direct draw system with standard faucets, and that's how you balance your system at that temperature range I talked about. when you're talking about flow control, you just don't have to worry about that. All your restriction is done with a faucet. It doesn't matter how long your hose is, how big it is. You don't want it too small, but you don't want to use 3/16. You want to use quarter, 5/16, and it doesn't matter how long it is because you're doing all your restriction control at the faucet. So that's really all there is to it on a direct draw system,
which is 99% of homebrew or home draft systems, you'd say.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that there's a homebrew guys out there that have a glycol
long draw
chiller long draw system in their house because somebody has to do it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And my hat's off to them. I'm jealous because not that it would work better. It probably that's the thing about long draw systems. The reason you do a long draw system with glycol and all of that is really not because it works better. It's because you have to. You've got distance, you got things in the way, and you've got to have that circulation system. Direct draw, which means a keezer, a kegerator through the wall from your walk-in cooler. The direct draw system is inherently and always going to be easier to get to flow properly.
Right. Yeah. And in y'all's experience, like you were just doing a product showcase in Denver last week, and James, you were installing at a restaurant not too long ago. In y'all's experience with the long draw, like the flow control y'all always put on those systems, that's kind of a flagship feature of a CM Becker, product, right? Or installation. Is the flow control as controlling over the balancing even in a long draw, or it still is a lot more factors like, oh no, flow control is not like on my system. Obviously, I think you'd agree, Todd, temperature always matters. Like I could have I could have V10 faucets on my teaser, but my keg is super, super warm. Unless I totally restrict it to nothing and do a 9-minute pour for a 20-ounce pint, it's gonna, like, temperature always will matter as well. In regards to
I'll answer with a question, James. Of the last 15 times you've been to that restaurant because they're having an issue, how many times has it been because of restriction on the faucet?
It's always temperature.
Temperature or we didn't have it. The balance, the pressure and everything wasn't quite right on the back end, right? I mean, we knew we didn't have a problem with restriction. So
right, because that's easily taken care of, on the faucet. But with that long draw system, man, there's long draw systems are so sensitive to anything, any change,
Well, it's very counterintuitive, right, James?
Yeah.
So you say, okay, well, my beer's foaming, and I've got 15 psi on it. And I know there's people out there going, 15 psi, why would you have that? You're going to overcarbonate your beer. But remember, we're using a mixed gas, and I think you can go up to like 20 or 21 for standard carbonated beer. So anyway, if it's 15 psi and you're getting foam, then you think, well, I'm getting lots of foam, I need to turn that down. Well, a lot of times you got to turn it up.
Yeah, because the
beer is counterintuitive.
The gas tends to break out if it's under pressured. The CO2 can leave in a long draw system. It's just
what a headache. Yeah. Well, and I do appreciate. I mean, home brewing brings the simplicity of craft beer in regards to like most people are direct draws or opening a fridge and pouring from that part, like where it's balancing, like you said. You're being pedantic, Todd. What are you, a German? But I like that you made the distinguish between what balance means in a commercial setting, but also to answer Adam's question about most people use the 3/16 tubing with 5 feet of it and go into a standard shank to a standard faucet, and your PSI and your things anywhere from 8 to 12, and the temperature is going to be in that 38 range or whatever, and then boom, you're good. Now, James, I do have a question before I let this go, because you use rotary valves. Is balancing your system at your house more difficult than the average bear because those are unique faucets?
Yeah, it's just direct draw.
Okay,
the
so
only
same
problem
difference.
I have
Okay.
is temperature. Yeah, they draft beautiful when the faucet's cold.
And they look beautiful. That's my favorite part about rotary faucets. Those things are gorgeous.
And I'm only running about 6 foot of 3/16 ID tubing, and I've got it insulated. I just don't have it cold to the faucet. So when it hits the faucet head's warm. It'll foam for about a half a pint. So I'll collect that, and then I'll pour regular glass, and then I'll recycle that on the next pour.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Works good.
I'll say, I know you don't waste. What
did you say I was being? I was being what?
Pedantic?
I thought you said pedantic. Okay, you did say pedantic. I thought you'd pronounced it wrong, and being pedantic, I was going to correct
I'm doing a callback to Leo from Germany. Before we took the voicemail, I used the word. I'm trying to say pedantic as much as I say Kolsch any given episode. I steal people's words. Funny. Absolutely. Some people say Germans are pedantic. Yes, I do. You're pedantic. Anyways, I'm sorry for yelling during your question, Adam. I hope that we were able to help you solve it. These are one of those, the first two questions, actually, all the questions. If you have feedback for us and you want a gift card, leave us a voicemail at 325-305-6107 or put it in the comments below. That greatly helps when you if you're at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, liking this and commenting and subscribing to the channel greatly helps the algorithm to say, hey, these guys aren't complete schlubs. Maybe we'll share this with other people looking up this topic. Or they might actually say these guys are complete schlubs, depending on what your comments are. I have no idea. But anyways, Adam, thank you so much for that. Guys, we've got one final question. It's a text message to our hotline, 325-305-6107 from our buddy Clark. And he wrote, kegs given to me have no markings on them whatsoever. They're in bad shape, so I want to fully restore them. Without markings, what's the way to determine the keg manufacturer for replacement parts? I got to throw it to you again, Todd. Sorry, James. This is a very Todd-centric episode because he is the keg man. You have literally touched thousands of kegs. I had to be very quick with what I said. You've touched thousands of. You've touched thousands of kegs. I have an impediment, not kids, kegs. Google, but yeah, homebrew soda corny kegs. You know your way around a keg. Can you tell us? Have you ever experienced a keg with no markings on it? I haven't.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, absolutely.
None.
So. Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's very, very rare, and I'm a little suspect that his don't have any markings. I think they probably have some markings somewhere, but let me show you. I know that not everybody can see this.
This is a great time to go to youtube.com/homebrew happy hour if you're an audio only listener.
Ways that you can tell is if we're talking about ball lock, and he did not say if it's ball lock or pin lock. You see how big that lip is? Right here, this part, how thick it is. And then I hold this one up, and this one is thinner, quite a bit thinner.
Oh, yeah.
The thicker ones are always Cornelius. The thinner ones are generally Firestone or one of the offshoots of Firestone. They had some. It depends on,
Spartanburg.
Well, Spartanburg Firestone's the same thing, but yeah. But the other thing is the one thing that could get thrown in there like AEB kegs. AEB will look just like a Cornelius and have the thicker one, but there's not a lot of those on the market. So that's one of the ways you can tell if it's a pin lock, because he didn't say if it was ball lock or pin lock. If it's a pin lock and you can't find any markings on it, turn it upside down and look on the bottom. Sometimes they're actually on the bottom. And it'll say there what brand it is. It may say Alloy or something like that. So it'll tell you what the brand is. For the most part, though, you're going to have parts that fit Cornelius, and you're going to have parts that fit Firestone. And Cornelius will either be Cornelius brand or it'll be AEB brand, or it could say Safer, which I think is still made by AEB. So, and that'll be have German words on it on the lid. That's another thing you can do is look on the lid's not as terribly reliable because they switched them around so much, but that's some of the things. And then keep in mind that they're going to have one of those two parts if we're talking about ball locks. So it's either AEB Cornelius or it's Firestone. No matter who made it, it's going to have Firestone parts if it's not Cornelius or AEB. Which are that's the only keg I know of that's interchangeable with Cornelius. On Penlock, it gets a little more complicated, but not really. It's either Cornelius or everything else. I mean, John Wood, Alloy Products, Firestone, they're all the same parts basically until you get to Cornelius.
Right. And I was going to ask, as you were saying that, because, a lot of our audience is engineers, or a lot of our audience is people looking to mainstream what their systems use. Do you think it's worth, like, how common is it for someone to call you and say, hey, the kegs I only, because we don't say, you can order an AEB, but when you order a ball lock, you don't have a drop down. Like, we don't have a drop down.
No, not at all.
So but how often do people call and say, listen, man, all of mine are Challengers. They're all Firestone. Can you please only send me Firestone? Is that a common phone call?
We used to get that call more. I don't get it. I haven't had it in a very, very long time. Most people, myself very much included, like we had somebody return a keg last week, and he said it had it just wasn't up to the standards, and it had some rust inside. And I actually took it home. I'm using it because it was just rust stains. Like, it's not like it's going to come out and be in your beer. I mean, I'm absolutely fine with using that keg. There's nothing wrong with that keg, so I'll use it.
How old but what the oldest of these kegs could potentially be? What, 60 years?
60 years old,
right? Yeah. That's
probably going to be a racetrack, I believe.
Were those some of the first ball locks made?
I think they were. I think racetracks were the first ball locks. Somebody out there may not know that they made both at the same time or something. But racetracks, I know, are extremely old. Yeah, and they use a lot of different things, like a spacer inside where the post is, a little plastic spacer that's basically, as far as I know. Again, on the video, this is the last one in known existence that's new. It's just a little spacer that the place we used to get these from no longer has any. And I found some for a guy the other day, and that's what it looks like. But that, you have to have that in there. And then to make things more complicated, these weren't uniform. So sometimes this fits right in. Sometimes I have to take it on a sander and sand part of the back down and make it shorter. So you get into just a lot of things, but the vast majority of the kegs out there are Cornelius or Firestone, right. Firestone variation, and the parts are pretty interchangeable. Universal poppets have made things a lot easier. It used to be the poppet valves were very specific, and you had to have exactly the right poppet valve. The universal poppet valves now work for 95% of the kegs. And the 5% they don't work with, you can actually shorten the spring a little bit, and it'll work for those too.
Yeah, you're taking my thunder. All my segues, I'm like, oh, remember to ask him about post and all that. But we actually have at homebrewhappyhour.com a fantastic article with the chart for is this your type of keg? Here's the posts that will work with it. Here's the poppets that'll work with it, dip tube, all this stuff. Like you made a pretty exhaustive list with links that can take them to the exact product, so it's ready to go. In a cart, because it can be overwhelming. Like a lot of people listening to the show are new, so not to discourage new keg people new to kegging, but you do have to make sure you're using the right parts for the product you got. So, but like Todd said, I've never seen a keg that wasn't stamped somewhere with what it was. Like, it says Firestone, it says Challenger. So you're like, oh, I go to the list. Oh, there's Firestone, there's Challenger. Perfect. Those are the posts I'd need if I.
Yeah, if you get one that you absolutely can't identify, you could probably send me photographs of it, and I could determine what it is.
Yeah, and speaking of quality of keg, because you're talking about, we do spend more time than the average bear in the industry cleaning them, going through this process or whatever. But I was going to say, if you really want to get a fantastic refurbished keg, is that what you were holding up earlier? Do you have one of those?
No, I've got one. I'll grab one real quick.
Yeah, go grab one real quick. While he's doing that, James, let me do my infomercial voice. New to kegconnection.com. No, well, we do. You've seen those new kegs that we've brought in that were from a coffee shop, I think. They are just in phenomenal shape. And now I can't. Oh, y'all both froze.
You guys are gone.
No, you're gone. I'll just say, James, I was talking to James and he has this stare on his. Do you not hear me? Oh, this is fantastic. Did y'all's internet die? Oh, I hate you, Zoom. I hate you so much. Those guys. I'm going to have to finish this show myself. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to have to find a way to edit Todd. There's Todd.
Wow, that was weird. I was just gone.
Yeah, both of y'all froze.
You said I'm going to do my infomercial voice, and then you were like this.
Yeah, your face looked so judging to me. You were looking at your computer screen, but it froze your face when I did my voice. I was like, "Oh, James isn't into this. I got to change it up. Anyways, I might edit that out. I might not. James froze again. Nope, there he is. Okay, Todd, show that. I was like freaking out. I'm gonna have to do the end of the show by myself.
So these look almost new. They're in such great shape. They were used by a coffee company. We were able to buy them. They're AEB Italian-made kegs. They're fairly new. Like we said, a lot of the kegs are up to 60 years old that we sell. This particular one was made in 2015. I've seen 16, 17, 18, 19. So they're pretty new kegs. And I don't know if the lid matches the date. Oh, okay. The keg is actually says 2017.
I say a lot of them said 17 when I looked at them. A lot of them.
Yeah. So these are really nice AEB kegs. We don't have very many of them, but they're a heck of a deal.
They are. And they're, infomercial voice again. They're available at kegconnection.com. But thank you for finding that, Todd. Clark, so yes, if it's true that you don't have any markings on your keg, which I believe you, Clark. I don't know why Todd said he's suspicious. I believe you. But send him a photo. I don't
think Clark's looking well enough. Clark, come on, Clark.
Send Todd.
No, seriously, send me a photo.
Send Todd your photo. He'll be able to help you troubleshoot it. And then get you refurbing. I mean, literally, that's kind of our day-to-day at Keg Connection is refurbishing kegs. Like I wish that the way you received a lot of them, they were ready to go. Most of the time, especially in the old days, they weren't. We're out there not just washing and cleaning them, but pressure testing, lubing this or replacing post. Or that's why I always laugh when you tell me like one of your kids, "Oh, take the dip tube out," and I try to play dumb, like I don't know how to do it, and you're like, "Dude." you did it for like 4 years in a row before I let you come indoors. So
it wasn't that long.
Okay, it was 4 months.
Let's be serious now.
4 months.
I mean, I would have fired you if I would have had you out there for 4 years trying to do it.
That is a good point. Yeah, I would not have had my 15th anniversary recently if I was. That is a good point. Clark, thank you so much for submitting that question. I'm not going to edit that little part out because that's going to be more work. So thank you guys. That's all I have for this week's show. Next weekend, not this coming one, not in a couple of days, but next weekend, Kolsch Cup. Yeah, we're going to be having fun Friday and Saturday. We're going to
try to fix the live stream too.
Thank you. Again, you keep taking my segues. I was like, the equipment's coming in today, and I'm going to help you put it up next week when I'm up there. I'm going to come up Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll spend all day getting the barn ready and putting up the equipment so we can live stream from the barn. And our backup, it might be the office, but my backup plan would be to just record it and publish it after.
We're not doing it at the office. We'll do it out there.
Thank you. That's how I feel too. So, okay, perfect. So guys, thank you so much. I'll see you on next.
It's because it's all about us and our needs.
It's
remember,
all
Josh?
about us and our needs. I'll see you all at Kolsch Cup. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. Bye.
And
Bye-bye.
That will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page, or call us. Leave us a voicemail. Be Todd's best friend to 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsors like Munton's Malts, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Munton's Malts, give them a try by joining our Trub Club at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at Hops Direct a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium recipes from us when you join the Trub Club. Again, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.